Okay, good morning, good evening, good night, whenever you'll be watching this video. I wanted to go ahead and knock this out really quickly. Won't take long because I have some other things I need to do. But I wanted to be sure to follow up with the first video I did on the distorted masculine through the tarot. And so I just recently did the one on the divine, the feminine. And it made me kind of maybe not rethink, but maybe add on. Definitely, let me rephrase. I wanted to add on to what I originally put out. Kind of new information and revelation on the topic and the discussion. So originally, this is what I focused on in terms of the divine masculine discussion, right? But new information. With additional research, it's a wonderful author and researcher called Michael Tessarian. I would invite and encourage all people to at least examine and maybe take a look at some of his books and writings and videos and research that he's done. Many different areas, but one of the areas that I have the most interest in with his work is his work with the tarot. And so, in looking at masculine energy, he discussed it by cards, and one of them that he actually discussed was this card, the Fool card. The Fool card, obviously this is traditional masculine energy, as I discussed before, but the Fool card actually is, let me bring that closer. The Fool card actually is the full embodiment of the original masculine energy on Earth, right? And so, how do we come to this conclusion? Well, like I said, there are books on this, but it suffices to say, let me explain it this way. So the masculine energy on Earth, right, are men, and can be translated, men on Earth, right, in the world of men. Men in their innate design, right, and how God made them and who they are on Earth and in Earth, right? They are a force that drives things forward, that creates structure and provides covering. And they're about forward movement and direction, exploration, conquering, and really the outward expansion of making things happen in life, right? So when we think about survival, right? A lot of it traditionally, as I discussed in the other video, was about, allowing nature to support your survival, for better or worse. It's about the things that you can cultivate in nature from the things you find, harvest, and maybe some, trapping and fishing and kind of thing. But the idea of the hunt, the original expression of masculinity, were men that went out into nature to find better ways of life, to shore up survival and living, right? And so with this particular card, put it down. With this particular card and the discussion on masculine energy on Earth, right? Men are naturally driven to explore and to, go on conquest, to discover new lands. Hopefully not take over and destroy, but definitely that's the spirit and the energy of masculine energy, right? Any man who's focused on, the development of his manhood through the things that he is able to acquire and creates a foundation of, the stability that he's able to create in his life and that of his family and his wife, right? Those are all masculine principles, right? Together, these two are kind of just like with the feminine. I would say these two represent the totality of masculinity that we have on earth. So like I had discussed before, when this is in reverse, right? So what happens when this kind of energy is in reverse, right? Well, when this energy is in reverse, we have a psychology, an archetype, a kind of thinking and a perception and way of seeing life that is destructive. It's unbalanced. It's ungrounded. It's ultimately destructive, right? It's not directed towards any one thing. It's where the desire for conquest turns into the desire for power and wealth. This is where this originates within kind of the masculine forward achievement, right? It's where that desire and energy goes into reverse. And from there, all manner of confusions, wars, imbalances, all kinds of situations where a person's will, as ungrounded and unhinged as it is, comes to earth. And you interact with everyone around you, and the result is oftentimes very, very destructive. So I just wanted to make sure that, in short, I put that out there. This is all part of a larger book that I'm writing, and kind of looking at archetypes in psychology and kind of how they show up in a couple of areas in history. And I'll go further into it, but basically I'm exploring this notion of masculinity and femininity, right? And how these energies and archetypes within these energies, people oftentimes get turned around and inversed, and just create discord. And I think it is my belief that by examining the psychology, just like the feminine, just by the mere reflection on these energies in a man's individual life, and for the feminine, for a woman's life as well, but battery's getting low, see, gotta go. But to just examine how these energies do show up in your life. And if you find a situation where it is literally you're about to go off on a cliff, you know it's unbalanced, then that will definitely impact this, because this comes later. But it's all about the archetype, right? It's all about, I'm trying to explain it in a way that makes sense. It's all about the psychology and the perception of how you approach life, yeah? In masculine energy as a man, and the same thing for the feminine. And so the goal is always to bring these energies into upright. I think oftentimes where we have these things in reverse is where we get a lot of, confusion and wars, all kinds of things. So it's also my opinion that this, though righteous and upright, right, responsible for the humanity that we have today, men that have always walked in this righteous, upright energy. Today, with a lot of the things we see online, manosphere kind of, that is nothing but this energy in reverse. It's not directed, it's not focused, it's destructive. It's based off of ego that doesn't seek understanding and balance. Say something else real quick, very quick. So you see in this card how he has a feather. It's represented, right? So I don't know how many people are familiar with Egyptian mythology, but Ma'at is the goddess of balance, right, and wisdom. Go back to this. It represents a man that is about to go through life on a windy road, undirected, to have an experience. His walk and his rhythms don't make sense. His steps are without rhythm. right? And in the desire to achieve and conquest that can go in reverse. But it's in that winding, in that coming and going, that ebb and flow. A man goes out of bounds and is reckless. A situation, experience happens that is ungrounded and destructive, right? It's all about the balance that is created, right? Because it's a long, it's long suffering, right? It's about the patience to see the fullness of the lesson unfold, right? So masculine energy is not so much interested in that. It's about achieving the goal, right? But always latent within masculinity. Very, very small uh, place in the psyche of men as represented in the archetype. To not really consider the balance in a situation, right? It's always something that comes afterwards when the reflection over the situation happens. So I thought that was a beautiful point by Tessarian. It just came up as I was looking at the card. I think it's important as well. No real feminine energy represented in the Emperor at all. So it's about another point just came up. I don't want to offend, but it's about the progression of the human experience in life, right? That's what the tarot is. And perhaps it is a bit of a de-evolution, right? In this card, you see more of a balance between nature, you know, and his place in it, his desire to expand and learn at the same time. Whereas with the Emperor, it's an extremely fixed energy, right? So the point is kind of got us download as I was doing this video. So yeah, thank you so much for your time and attention. I look forward to any questions and comments that you have on this evolving topic. I look forward to exploring this more as a series and as I'm, writing my book. This is, useful information in understanding why the world works and why humans work the way they do. So anyway, thank you so much for your time and attention. Have a great day.